My name is Katie Carver-Reed, and I have the honor of serving as the Executive Vice President of your Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank. And it's my honor to welcome you to the Kickoff Luncheon for the 35th Annual Harvest for Hunger campaign. How exciting! We are just extremely grateful for this tremendous community of supporters who help the food bank do our work all year long. But last year, as I'm sure many of you in this room know, last year was a little different. This community, all of you showed up, proving that when systems falter, people don't. In the midst of the government shutdown, our community rose to the moment, rallying around the food bank with passion, urgency, and heart. You and your commitment are the very reason we can serve neighbors experiencing hunger today. And so it's with a grateful heart that I thank you for being here and for all the ways you help us all year long. I'd like to start the program by taking a moment to introduce some of our special guests that are with us this afternoon. Later on in the program, we'll hear from our Harvest for Hunger campaign leaders, but I'd like to introduce them now and thank them. So our 2026 co-chairs, first, Abby Linville, Vice President in Public Relations and Communications at the J.M. Smucker Company, and Ron Pato, Market President of Akron-Canton Market for Huntington Bank. We appreciate you both so much. Yes, give them a round of applause. The two of them and their companies are just so generous and so dedicated to our cause, and so we're really grateful for both of you. To all of our amazing board members today, if you could give a little wave, there's so many of you out there. Thank you all so much for being here. Round of applause. To any elected officials with us this afternoon, also please give us a wave. I know there's a few of you out there, and thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much. We are also so grateful that so many hunger relief partners have chosen to join us today. We're really grateful for our partnership and working with you, again, all year long on the front lines of ending hunger. Thank you all so much. See some of you back there, Dante, Michelle, give us waves. Come on, give them a round of applause. Also, we couldn't be here today without our sponsors, so thank you so much to the sponsors of this year's luncheon, which you can see on the screens behind me and also in your program book. A special thank you to our diamond sponsors, Huntington Bank and the J.M. Smucker Company, and platinum sponsors, GPD Group, NJM Insurance Group, Hyun and Catherine Park, and State and Federal Communications. Thank you. Round of applause for them. Keep those hands warm. We have some more applause to do. We're also so grateful for our Checkout Hunger partners, Giant Eagle, Bueller's Fresh Foods, Dave's Market, GetGo, and Heinen's Grocery Stores. Please wave for them, give them an applause. See the Bueller's table over there, thank you so much. Our Giant Eagle friends are here. We'd also like to thank our media partners from Gannett, the Canton Repository, and the Akron Beacon Journal for your support. Thank you all so much for being here and for supporting the campaign. The Harvest for Hunger campaign is a collaborative campaign with 3 other food banks, and we're really grateful and happy to welcome Kristen Morzoka, President and CEO of the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, with us today. Kristen, thanks for being here. It's a great green jacket, right on brand. And last but not least, I'd also like to thank the staff at the John S. Knight Center for taking such good care of us again this year, and for our food bankers who sit on our internal sustainability committee, who are in the kitchen right now, ensuring that this event produces 0 food waste. So thanks to them. Round of applause for 0 food waste. I hope you all enjoy our time together this afternoon, learning how you can make a significant impact on local hunger relief by participating in this year's Harvest for Hunger campaign. This campaign truly is vital to the food bank's ability to serve our region. 2025 showed us what's possible when a community comes together, especially during a crisis. And so I'd now like to introduce my good friend, the President and CEO of your Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, Dan Flowers.
Hey everybody, happy Friday. I enjoyed standing at the top of the escalator and shaking your hands and seeing so many friends, and wow, isn't it great to be around people that you love and people that you've done good work with over a lot of years. It's such a blessing to be in community. It feels like church to me, really. to be here with y'all. And in fact, I even pitched to Raven that I was going to end by singing an old hymn, but she said no deals. So we're not going to do that, but I do get the old-time religion, that's for sure. Katie, thank you for getting our program started today. Katie recently promoted to the position of Executive Vice President of the Food Bank. She's a treasure for our food bank and a real hero across our network. So Katie, thank you, ma'am. Where's Mrs. Flowers at? I never like to talk without. There you go, babe. My lovely wife is here, 29 years. Thank you, honey, for coming. It's always good to share these moments with you, and of course my son Andy, who's here. But let me once again welcome you on this beautiful sunny last Friday in the month of February during this season of Lent. Tomorrow's the Portage Lakes Polar Bear Jump. Any polar bears in the room today? They're jumping? Okay. We got a couple in the back here. It's not too late. This year, the food bank is going to be the beneficiary of the polar bear jump. It's really like worse going in than getting out. But it looks like we're going to have a beautiful day for the polar bear jump tomorrow. The polar bear jump is a fun seasonal event. And spring, the first day of spring, is just 4 weeks from today. I know, which is exciting. But speaking of seasons, Harvest for Hunger isn't just a campaign to me, it is a season. It speaks to the promise of spring. We start this campaign right around, Lent, early in Lent. Sometimes we've kicked it off on Ash Wednesday. And usually we wrap it up in some place where the sun's shining and spring is underway. And I mention that at these campaigns every year because it's so important to have something to look forward to. And spring is a hopeful thing. And when you show up at this event and cheer on this campaign, it gives us hope. It gives the board and the staff hope that you'll stay with us, because our ability to do this work and to be a light to our neighbors depends upon it. I suppose after 23 Harvest for Hunger kickoffs, perhaps a more relaxed leader might be inclined to assume that the community would always show up for us. But we know from my remarks last year that relaxed is not my style. For me, the weight of what we have to accomplish in this campaign is such that I never allow myself to take it and to take you for granted. Our commitment at the food bank is to the standard. Our commitment is to staying sharp, earning your support by delivering on our mission, reporting on our collective impact, sharing the stories of our neighbors who have been touched by your generosity, and making sure you know how much they and we appreciate you. My heartfelt desire is for you to experience all of those things today and every time you interact with the food bank. Now, most of you are aware that the food bank has had a very consistent record of growth in the amount of food that we distribute, the size of our network, dollars raised, and in many other areas. And I think after being here, this is my 23rd campaign kickoff, I could wax nostalgic all day with you about all of the Harvest for Hunger kickoffs and things that we've experienced in the incredible years of growth. But I would just ask, how many of you, if you just raise your hand, ever visited the food bank when it was on Grant Street, 546 Grant Street? So there's some of you that have been here, and I see Dan Sfida. Let me honor the founder of the food bank. My predecessor, Mr. Dan Sfida, is here with us today. And it's an honor to be with you, Dan. 2 CEOs ever of this food bank, Dan and me. And we're super grateful to have such a wonderful board. And I love you, Dan Sfida. But we've had a lot of growth, and I've stood at many of these Harvest for Hunger campaign kickoffs, and I've announced that last year was the biggest year ever. And that's always been true when I've said it. We've had very consistent growth, and 2025 was certainly no exception. We distributed a record 42 million pounds of food last year with a value of close to $60 million. Historically, Maybe we could get a round of applause for that amazing thing. It's pretty incredible. Historically, our growth has come largely from having, really strong support from food donors, and many are in the room today, and from financial donors, like so many of you are as well. And we've also had really exceptional board and staff leadership in a lot of positions. Shelley Hinton's here today, and a lot of food bankers that are currently on the staff or that have gone on to other things have all helped contribute to this mission in really significant ways over the years. Government entities, since the Great Depression, have also played a very significant role in fighting food insecurity. They're kind of the town fire department, and we are kind of like the community bucket brigade, if you could sort of picture that. Before the Great Depression and the development of government food programs like the original food stamp program that was created during the Depression, there was literal starvation in this country. It was starvation that was observed by a group of senators when they visited southern states back during the Depression that triggered the creation of the original food safety net in this country. Did anyone here read The Grapes of Wrath? Yeah, a lot of us, right? In school we read The Grapes of Wrath. That is what was happening in this country with food insecurity before the government got in the game and showed up with their big fire trucks to help us with this issue. But together, the charitable food response and the government have created a very robust safety net for people that have food insecurity in this community and in this country. And now food insecurity has also always been a strongly bipartisan issue. In the 30 years that I have done this work, I've only seen growth in government support go up. So much so that 40% of the food that we distributed in 2024 came from the state of Ohio or the USDA. And so when our USDA food allocation was cut this time last year, we found out about it by reading an article in Politico. It was a big blow. It was a lot less water for our buckets. And of course, we always knew that a big cut could happen, but it's surreal when the thing you always fear becomes the thing that you're actually dealing with. I've said for a long time, worrying works because most of the things I worry about end up not happening, and so it must be the fact that I worry so effectively. But that was a big concern, and it happened last year. Our board immediately approved hundreds of thousands of dollars on emergency food purchases so that we could have offerings on the menu for our agencies. We knew it was nothing that we could sustain, and we weren't able to come close to filling the gap that those cuts created, but we literally had to buy time to come up with a more robust plan. Now, before the dust even settled on the USDA cut that we had last spring, the state budget passed, and we got another big reduction in food support. In fact, the USDA and the state cuts totaled over 6 million pounds for us. A huge cut, a giant hole to climb out of. 20% of the buckets that we had in 2024 were empty in the yard in 2025, and the fire department and the fire would only grow. In November, during the government shutdown, SNAP benefits were put on hold. I'd never seen that in my career before. Essentially, the fire department left the scene entirely, and it was just our bucket brigade working to control the fire. And as these moments often do, it brought out the best in our scrappy local brigadesters. Yes, it did. Thank you. A number of our donors came forward with generous donations to help fill the gap these cuts created. And when I say generous, 2 different families in this community came forward with $1 million gifts in response to this. It's amazing. Another family Another family came with a $500,000 gift, and many others made astounding gifts. And we used 100% of it to buy food to put on the menu. Foundations, government entities, companies, the whole community rallied around us last year, and we never lost a single inch compared to 2024. We ended up making up for those cuts and distributing more food than we ever had in our history last year, even more than during the pandemic, because this time, when government support went down, this community stepped up to cover the gap. You did this one. And I'm so humbled and so proud to have witnessed the work that was accomplished across this network in 2025. Are you picking up what I'm laying down? It was a big deal. Yes. Thank you. So we have a video that kind of tells the story. I'm going to stop and we can run real quick.
Last year, our community faced a moment unlike anything we've experienced before. The longest government shutdown in our nation's history disrupted everyday life for thousands of families. And for the first time ever, SNAP benefits, a lifeline for so many, were halted.
The Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank says it's in crisis mode while the benefits are in limbo.
People who have the benefits in the beginning of November could experience a reduction or a suspension if the shutdown doesn't get resolved.
Almost immediately, the impact was felt across our region. Families who had never needed help before found themselves turning to food pantries for support.
With SNAP benefits, it's still being frozen. More and more families are turning to food banks just to get by.
County leaders worry that come November 1st, people will go hungry.
The Akron-Canton Food Bank's pantry is expanding its hours to help more people in need right now.
Many depending on food banks to keep from going hungry.
This crisis came at a time when food bank resources were already stretched thin. Federal and state food support declined significantly last year because of budget cuts, creating gaps we worked hard to fill.
The Akron-Canton Food Bank says it could lose 10% of its food supply this year.
The funding cuts could leave them with almost 3 million fewer pounds of food this year.
Now, food banks across Ohio are also worried about any potential federal cuts.
More people were arriving every day, all looking for the same thing, a little relief and a little hope. But in this moment of extraordinary need, something remarkable happened. Our community stepped forward. Businesses, organizations, retail partners, local governments, and so many others all rallied together. They donated food, they made financial gifts, they volunteered, they showed up for neighbors they had never met, simply because it was the right thing to do. Because of your generosity, families facing hunger found the help they needed. You helped bridge the gap between hunger and hope during one of the most challenging moments our region has faced. We are deeply grateful for this community, for your compassion, your commitment, and your unwavering support. Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for standing with your neighbors. And thank you for proving once again what is possible when we all come together.
All right. What you just saw is a powerful reminder of what this community can accomplish when the need is greatest. And our ability to continue holding the line in 2026 starts now. We know we have to continue bridging the gap from the government food cuts we experienced last year. There is a very, very steep hill to climb for us, but we have a lot of things in our favor. We have a new campus at the former J.M. Smucker store in Orrville that will open this summer. How about that? Great news. that will be a very big topic of discussion at the Harvest for Hunger Kickoff next year, and I'm so excited for you to hear about what we've got going where that's concerned. We're in the midst of creating a new strategic plan that's going to time really nicely with that wonderful donation that we closed on yesterday. And we have all of you. So we have a lot of things in our favor. And we're fortunate to have two outstanding co-chairs helping lead the way for this year's Harvest for Hunger campaign. I sat with Ron last night at an event down in Worcester, and I'm like, goodness sakes, one of the hardest working people ever, anywhere, Ron Pato of Huntington Bank, returning for a second year. His energy, his enthusiasm, and his work is remarkable, and he's just a really great guy. If you have an opportunity to ever sit with Ron and get to know him, you'll be so glad you did. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful fella. And this year, we're really excited to welcome a new co-chair to the campaign, but a food banker and a food bank advocate for many years. It's Abby Linville of the J.M. Smucker Company joining us up here today. And we've had the distinct pleasure of working with Abby in a variety of capacities, and we always learn when we're working with Abby. And so would you please join me in welcoming Abby to the lectern? Okay, ma'am. I got them all warmed up for you.
You did an incredible job. Can we just take a moment to recognize how incredible Dan is and how lucky we are to have a leader like Dan, like Katie, like Colleen? I mean, you look at that video, which had me tearing up, so thank you for that. You look at that video, and it's like, this takes incredible leadership to pull something like that off last year. So they thanked all of us, but the leadership that it would take, the steady hand on the wheel, is just, it's incredible. So congratulations and thank you. Harvest for Hunger is one of the most powerful ways that our community can support food distribution across the region. It's our food bank's largest campaign, and it plays a critical role in the food bank's mission to ensure that people have access to nourishing food. We at Smucker have been an advocate and a partner of the food bank now for many, many decades, and we're so thrilled to see you all expand in our hometown of Wayne County. And you guys are gonna be our neighbors as of next week. So we're thrilled for that. At its core, Harvest for Hunger is a collaboration. It is like the ultimate group project. It's led simultaneously by the 4 food banks that support Northeast Ohio. So of course, our food bank, Akron-Canton Regional, the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, the Second Harvest Food Bank of North Central Ohio, and the Second Harvest Food Bank of Mahoning Valley. And together, we have been fighting hunger across 21 counties for 35 years. So think about that impact that we have here. We're incredibly proud of what we've been able to build together. And Harvest for Hunger, as I said, ultimate group project, it invites everybody to be part of the solution. Participation is accessible at every level, so whether you are able to write a check, whether you're able to donate $1 here or there, every single contribution, that spare change at the checkout, makes a big difference. Everyday actions, again, the grocery store, at work, at school, within your faith communities, if you dedicate a service to raising funds, all of that can add up to extraordinary impact. When colleagues raise a few dollars together, those incremental efforts become something monumental for the community. And again, it's just the sign of an ultimate group project. So thank you all for being here, for your passion for this community, and for your willingness to support. One of the best examples of this collective effort is the Checkout Hunger campaign. It's the campaign's largest revenue generator, and it's one of the easiest ways to give. So how many of you here have been asked to give $1, $2, $3 when you're at the checkout at the grocery store? Thank you, I hope you pressed yes. Even if it was a little bit, if you were able to, in that moment. It's a simple moment, but it's a powerful one. I mean, you're there buying groceries for your table, for your family, and you're also reminded at that same time that there are members in our community who are facing food insecurity. So again, thank you for showing up and for supporting in that way. Ron and I are honored to co-chair Harvest for Hunger. It's incredible that we were asked to do this. Ron, of course, a returning co-chair, and as Dan said, just an incredible human being. Our goal this year is ambitious, and that's to provide the equivalent of 4.8 million meals, which means we are going to be raising $1.6 million and 100,000 pounds of food. It's a big goal, but we can do it. We can do it because we have partners like you. I mean, to pack this house, to fill it with people who care so deeply about the food bank and about the community is an incredible testament to what we built together. So now I would like to introduce the co-chair, Ron Pato, to talk to us about how we can donate right here today. Thank you.
I'd like to echo Abby's thanks to Dan and his leadership team for all the great work that they do in our community. I'd also like to thank all of you for being here today because, you know, Dan, you talk about stepping up in the community and everything that's happened. This event is sold out. So you talk about people showing up for the Akron-Canton Food Bank, you are showing up. Dan, I do have to ask though, are you participating in the polar bear plunge? Absolutely not. Is the organization benefiting from it? Katie's jumping. Dan, I think you should jump. I'm so glad that the color for the Harvest for Hunger campaign is green, because that's my favorite color. So Abby, thank you. It has been so fun to get to work with you and get to know you. What Smucker's is doing with the food bank and in the community is really unmatched, so thank you very much. It's great to see you here again this year. I look forward to leading another impactful campaign with your support, because in all honesty, we could not do this without you. We truly believe the Harvest for Hunger campaign success, year after year after year, is truly fueled by you. Committed businesses, organizations, and community partners who rally like you've never seen before behind one shared purpose: feeding people and fighting hunger. Through Huntington's contributions, and thanks to all of our colleagues that are here today, we help provide approximately 350,000 meals for community members experiencing food insecurity. And in 2025, Huntington colleagues proudly showed up and volunteered at 50 food bank events, demonstrating our continued commitment to supporting our neighbors and strengthening the communities that we serve. One key element of a successful campaign is the hundreds of food and fun drives organized across our region. Hosting a drive is a great way to engage employees, strengthen workplace culture, and make a tangible difference. Recognized in your program book is a list of extraordinary organizations and businesses who were the top food and fundraisers during last year's record campaign. We hope to see you on this list next year. On your way out today, please, please, please be sure to pick up a campaign coordinator kit filled with helpful tools and resources. There's no better team to work with than the food bank team around helping you run your campaign. Financial support also plays a critical role in the campaign. Every dollar donated helps provide 3 nourishing meals, and together, those dollars go a long way. I encourage our corporate leaders in the room to consider making a corporate gift, matching employee donations, or offering payroll deduction to make giving even easier. Dan highlighted the challenge that the challenge in 2026 is as strong, if not greater, than in 2025. So we need the corporate leaders in the room and in our community to make a donation. Today, I'd like to challenge each of you here today to help us jumpstart this campaign right here, right now. Please scan the QR code on the screen or on the back of your program book and be among the first to make a gift to this year's Harvest for Hunger campaign. Thank you for being here. Thank you for standing with our neighbors. And most of all, thank you for supporting your food bank. Now, it is really my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker and a tremendous food banker in her own right, Chief Development Officer for the food bank, Colleen Benson.
Good afternoon. So are we ready to have the most successful Harvest for Hunger campaign ever, everyone? Are we ready? Are we ready? I hope so. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're just so grateful to have you all here today. For the past 15 years, I've sat in the audience as a staff member, and before that, as a community member, listening to different leaders talk about the impact of the Harvest for Hunger campaign. And so, of course, I'm so honored and humbled to be up here today. For 34 years, we have mobilized as a community to fight hunger through this very special campaign. And we have encouraged philanthropy in all of its forms to provide more and more meals each year to our friends and neighbors. And last year, this campaign provided 4 million meals. 4 million meals. Isn't that amazing? This campaign alone. So it's definitely going to be a stretch to provide 4.8 million years, but I think we can do it. And you all think we can do it, right? We can do it. That's right. See, because we have co-chairs like that. They've been planning for months. They've made special efforts to make sure that this is a successful campaign. And so thanks again to Ron and Abby. But I wanted to ask everyone if you agree with me that Ron Pato, he must have a body double, or maybe he should be nominated for sainthood, because this guy shows up at like 4 or 5 community events in the same night, somehow at the same time. I don't know how you do it. It's amazing. And Abby, of course, we appreciate you so much. You have been a part of just the most transformational gift that the food bank has had. Your innovative ideas and the way that you step up to support this work has really been phenomenal. So we're just very grateful to have such leadership. So there are just so many amazing human beings in this audience today. It's just hard to take it in, all the wonderful people in this room doing wonderful work in our community. People with drive, people with the energy that it takes to fuel philanthropy in our community. And we hear the word philanthropy, and it sounds kind of sophisticated, right? But let's break it down a little bit. Let's take a look at its Greek root words. Anthropos translates to human being. It denotes the essence of humanity. Anthropos. It's a lovely word. And then we have the root word philo, which translates to love. So philo plus anthropos equals love of humanity. So I'd like to spend my time with you today exploring how we demonstrate that love of humanity when we give of ourselves. And even though philanthropy often comes in the form of financial contributions and food donations, which are so wonderful, it is often the most visible when we offer up the resource that we never seem to have enough of in this life, the thing that we wish we had more of, especially as the years pass on, and that is the precious resource of time. Through the years, I've observed the many ways our community gives of their time, and I've seen network partners picking up food orders, and often in their own vehicles. I've seen helpers sorting through the canned goods in our volunteer center, and I've seen individuals welcoming neighbors with warm smiles into our food pantry. Have you heard the saying, work is love made visible? That's from poet Khalil Gibran, and his suggestion is that work, when performed with passion and care, is an expression of one's inner spirit and love for life. Work is love made visible. And in my opinion, that's really what philanthropy is all about. When it comes in the form of volunteering especially, philanthropy no doubt demonstrates our collective love of humanity. So I want to explore the topic of volunteering for a moment. Last year, more than 11,000 people chose to spend their time with us at the food bank. Instead of any number of activities they could have spent their time on, they willingly contributed their hours to us. How awesome is that? Collectively, more than 78,000 hours. So for the number nerds out there, I can tell you the exact value of those volunteer hours. I think everyone in the nonprofit sector knows that 1 hour is the equivalent of $34.79, according to Independent Sector. We use that to quantify the economic impact of volunteering. Grant funders love it. And last year at the food bank, that impact was $2.7 million. Just through volunteerism, $2.7 million. It's amazing. That's such an impact to the food bank, and as a fundraiser for more than 20 years, I love sharing numbers like that with our stakeholders. But I'm not so sure that you can really put a price tag on how those volunteer hours impacted the people, the ones who are actually spending their time volunteering, or the ones who are benefiting from that volunteerism. In the fall, our food bank extended pantry hours to meet the demand that was exacerbated by the government shutdown, and many volunteers and staff members stepped forward to help. And so there was a day that after my work hours, I decided I needed to volunteer a little bit in our pantry, and I spent 2 hours, which was an economic impact of about $70 to the food bank. It's very tangible. But I had to think, like, what were the other impacts? What was the emotional impact on the young mom who got milk, eggs, and butter to make her child a birthday cake? Or the health impact of the diabetic who received a bag of fresh produce? And that day, I thought about the common humanity that I shared with our neighbors. And one man looked at me and he said, "It feels awkward having to come here." And I just looked at him and just smiled and said, "You're welcome anytime. You don't have to feel uncomfortable." And so I hope he felt that warmth that I was trying to convey. And then when I went home later that night, I felt that same humanity when I was preparing my own meal for my family, knowing that others were also sitting down to enjoy a wholesome meal. It was truly priceless to me. And giving it a monetary value really didn't seem to satisfy me, but feeling that sense of relief and that sense of justice in knowing a family had food security, even if just for that evening, was very satisfying. And it was an indicator of time well spent. So think about how you feel when you spend time on an activity that's important to you. A great conversation, a cuddle session with your grandchild, or a morning volunteering at your favorite nonprofit. It's invaluable because time is a love language, isn't it? I know it's my favorite. But time is also a finite resource. And every day is a new countdown of exactly 24 hours that we get to allocate to our jobs and our to-do lists and our chores and our errands and our hobbies, but also our relationships and our passions and our dreams. So thank you for the choice you made today to come and spend an hour with us in this room to learn about food insecurity and taking the time to be with us. Anyone who has volunteered for a cause that meant something to them, even when the experience was not ideal, knows that you can't help leaving with a great sense of satisfaction and knowing that the time that you spent really mattered. At the food bank, we've hosted volunteers in the rain and in the snow and in the hot, blistering sun. And sometimes volunteering really requires us to be uncomfortable. You might have to lift something heavy, or you might have to clean up something very messy. And it's funny because we've seen volunteers leaving our food pantry with food stains all over their shirts. Their feet are sore, and yet they're still smiling. And they're saying, "Thank you for the opportunity. We'll see you next week." And it's just amazing because I think we all know just how good it is for us. And researchers tell us that the activity of volunteering releases all the good chemicals in our brain, like oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. the chemicals that bring us pleasure. And it reduces the bad stress hormones like cortisol, my mortal enemy. Socially, the act of working together toward a purpose creates bonds, friendships, and provides a meaningful experience for families who volunteer together. And I felt this feeling for the first time when I was in high school, and I was voluntold that I had to meet certain requirements for community service in order to graduate. My parents had always valued giving back, and they walked me down the street to the Gennesaret Hot Meal Program, a program that was, and still is, a member of the Akron-Canton Regional Food Banks Network. My parents not only encouraged me to volunteer, but they also rolled up their sleeves and worked alongside me in service to our community. They wanted me to see that others in my neighborhood did not always have food to eat and that we could help. Thanks, Mom, for showing me how blessed we were and for continuing to volunteer at the food bank every week. Mwah. Our family always had food on the table, and it might have been chipped beef on a grilled sandwich made with government cheese, but we were lucky enough to have the food that we needed to be healthy. So in a way, volunteering together felt like an act of gratitude. However, I was still a whiny teenager, so it also seemed like a lot of work. We scooped food onto plates, and we cleared tables, and we washed dishes. And my mom referred to the people running the program as saints because they really seemed to find joy in doing some of those dirty jobs. They dedicated a lot of their personal time to picking up food orders from the food bank and coordinating ingredients to ensure there was always a delicious hot meal. And the lead volunteer we worked with ended up being one of the most memorable and passionate volunteers I've ever met, and her name was Jean Barber. Does anyone remember Jean Barber? Did anyone know Jean? Okay. Wonderful. Now, Jean had spent many years as a waitress, and she really knew her way around a kitchen. And if you saw her coming, you would get out of her way because she was moving fast and she was yelling orders to the volunteers, asking for more potatoes over here and let's get this mess cleaned up over there. And I really didn't know how to navigate her other than to quickly find a job and stick to it. I wanted to make sure I was doing my part and doing it to her very strict standards. However, at the end of the meal, she'd pull all the volunteers together, and that intimidating demeanor would soften. She would thank us for showing up, give us hugs, and tell us we were doing God's work. And her love of humanity, no doubt, played a role in my own passion for this work. When I started at the food bank in 2010 and reconnected with Jean, I recognized that same fierce spirit in her. But instead of intimidating me, it inspired me to know that her passion was still making a difference in this work. Jean passed away in 2017 after many years of volunteering at that same hot meal program. And I wonder how many thousands of potatoes did she peel, and how many hugs did she give, and how many conversations did she have that inspired others to give back or challenge them to think differently about the causes that were important to them? How many hours of volunteering did she offer to the community? I wonder what was the economic value of those hours. But I bet to her that didn't matter at all, right? Because it was the work that she was drawn to. It was the people that she wanted to love, and to her was the best use of her time here on earth. And her legacy lives throughout the food bank's network of 600 hunger relief programs. There are hundreds of volunteers just like Jean. Well, maybe not just like Jean, but volunteers who show up with a fierce passion every day and inspire philanthropy in our community, using their time in this world to create a better life for others. Later in life, when I landed my first job at the Akron Beacon-Journal, I was encouraged to volunteer with my coworkers. I think there's a few of them in this room. Hi, Beacon-Journal people. I felt this same type of passion from my boss, Rita Kelly-Maddock. Rita was my first boss, and she was a role model for me on how to step up for your community. She sparked passion in others to give back, to volunteer, to host food and funds drives, and she actually brought me to my first Harvest for Hunger kickoff ever. because she was one of the original volunteers who stepped up in this community and actually identified the need for a food bank. In 1982, she signed the founding documents that started the Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank, and to this day, she continues to volunteer, bringing her grandchildren and her family members to join her in service to this organization she helped establish years ago. So thank you to my friend and mentor, Rita. At the food bank, we see a number of leaders like Rita who encourage their coworkers to volunteer, and we even see corporations that allow volunteering to occur during company hours. And when I look at the list of sponsors and the faces around the room, I know many of you are doing that exact same thing at your corporations and your organizations, and we appreciate it so much. You're coordinating volunteer days and inspiring action. You're demonstrating the values that your organizations and businesses are built on. You're giving back while also providing those feel-good chemicals to your associates and to your work culture. And I think that's a win-win, don't you? In our youth, we volunteer because someone tells us to. As working adults, we volunteer because it's good for the company culture. And as we approach retirement age, we find ourselves asking the existential questions like, what should I do with my time now? The milestones are complete, the career done, the kids grown. And I've spent a lot of time this past year talking with volunteers who are retirees, and I want to better understand why they choose to spend their time with us. They talk about the friends they work alongside, their love for the staff, and their desire to stay busy in retirement. While some will share their own stories of food insecurity, others simply want to have purpose after many years of working hard. After years of contributing to workplace goals and having workplace friends, they enjoy working alongside others and contributing to something meaningful. And did you know that those feelings can strengthen neural pathways in your brain? Volunteering can result in lower rates of depression, protection against dementia, improved mental health, and even longevity. What better activity could you have for your retirement years? I think it even gives pickleball a run for its money. Seriously. The practice of service to others is encouraged in almost every religion and certainly gives us a sense that we are doing the right thing for others, while at the same time it's helping us. Isn't that a beautiful thing, that it is helping us? My conclusion is that volunteering is one of the best things you can do with your time at any age or stage in your life. And I want to thank every volunteer who has ever given their time, not just to the food bank, but to all the amazing nonprofits in our community. We are so impacted by that type of commitment. When food banks across the country experienced significant reductions in government food last year, volunteers were there to help sort through the hundreds of thousands of food donations. When the government shutdown occurred and SNAP benefits were halted, volunteers were there to help in our food pantry, build food boxes, deliver groceries to homes, and operate drive-through food distributions. Volunteers stepped up, as they always do when times get tough. And it's not just the people who sign up to come to work in our volunteer center or pantry, but the thousands who work in our 600 hunger relief programs, picking up food orders and making backpack for kids. It's the employee resource groups and business administrators who pull coworkers together to conduct food drives. It's those who serve on committees and boards. It's those who serve in quiet capacities, sharing our message, because this is our philanthropic work as a community, and it always has been. And it is love made visible, and we love our volunteers. The food bank was started by a small group of volunteers some 4 decades ago, and they have kept our organization strong. We have known many humble, passionate servants along the way. We have also lost some of our most dedicated volunteers. When I read Jean Barber's obituary, there were a few sentences about who she was and what she cared about. As you will find in most obituaries, just a few sentences to describe an entire lifetime. And one of them read, she worked with the Gennesaret Soup Kitchen in the food bank in Akron for 20 years. It was a simple description of how she spent her time, and it really made me think about my own mortality. I know it's a somber question, and I had to ask myself, and maybe you've asked yourself too before this same question, is how will the sentences in my obituary read? How will my time be described? American poet Carl Sandburg wrote, "Time is the coin of your life. It is the only coin you have, and only you can determine how it will be spent." Time is the coin of your life. And Jean spent her coin in an admirable way, affecting the people in her close community and ensuring the families in her neighborhood had enough to eat. As I reflected on how I am spending my coin, I had to ask myself, have I invested my time wisely with the people and the causes that reflect my deepest passions? Have I spent enough time just being present for the people I love? Did I take the time to pick up the phone when I had a nice thing, a thought about someone, or did I just let the moment pass? Did I take the time to share a meal with someone who wanted to connect, or did I take a rain check? Did I interact with the real people in my daily life, like the real human beings? Or did I spend too much time doom scrolling on social media and feeling anxiety about the things in this world I cannot change? Because this world is heavy, friends. I know you feel it. I feel it. It's far too easy to spend time in worry, to spend time in self-doubt, to ruminate on hopelessness. Those things can sometimes feel like default settings in our brains, and if you let them, they will take over and flood your body with cortisol, and nobody wants that. So we have to remember what feeds our souls and spend our time in those pursuits. And take a look around this room. We have people in our lives who will encourage us to spend our coins on meaningful work, who will stand beside us in service to our communities, and we can collectively make our time matter. I'm still figuring out what that means and how I'm spending my coin, and I think about, how I tell myself and how I tell others sometimes that I'm too busy for this or I'm too busy for that, but I'm not too busy for the things that matter most in my world. I'm not too busy for the things I can influence. We can influence the things around us, and we're not too busy because we're all so busy with meetings and things that we have to get done. And time, though, actually does offer us a lot of space for meaningful moments. The hugs, the laughs, the conversations, the service to others, we do have time for that. And it will, no doubt, impact the way we are remembered. Again, we are gifted 24 hours each day in this life, except our first and our last, and none of us knows exactly when that will be for us. And time, in the end, is all we have. But it can absolutely be our greatest expression of our love of humanity. I hope you'll spend some time and your talents and your treasure with us in the next 3 months as we complete our Harvest for Hunger campaign. I hope you'll bring your family members to work a volunteer shift, coordinate a food and funds drive with your coworkers, or simply spend some time chatting it up with your checkout associate when you make your donation at the grocery store. I hope you will invest your metaphorical coin and your literal one as well. Because remember, it's your time and it's your coin to spend. So you decide, how will you spend it? Thank you. Today's program will conclude with a brief video showing some of our volunteers in action. I hope you enjoyed your time with us today and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Before I volunteered at the food bank, I really didn't have a good sense of what the need was in the community for food.
Look where we are today. I mean, we're really at a very critical point that people need so much help right now that we don't realize how many people out there are struggling.
And there are so many people that come to the pantry who need food. Somehow it's not working out in the greater society, but then there are places like this that provide food for people.
Volunteering is a way to give back to people who have given to you.
We all have to eat. Food is common ground. That's a commonality with all of us. And so often, we are so busy in our lives and we look beyond people.
There are people out there in need, and even though your life may be going well, there are other people out there that you need to take into consideration.
Until you have volunteered at a pantry to see the poverty that some people have to endure, the food bank has just allowed us to serve them and to provide food for them.
Every time we show up at the food bank, our time is just used with great impact, and we walk away feeling like we've done work that matters.
Volunteering makes me feel fulfilled. It gives me meaning and purpose. Now that I'm retired, I really look forward to doing this.
Volunteering makes me feel wonderful. It brings out things in me that I never really knew existed. I can help people. I'm going to be 78 years old next month. There's a lot of things that I can't do anymore. I can do this. Anybody can do this. And the joy that it will bring you is immense.
I love working in the Akron-Canton pantry. The ability to see the people, to be able to talk to them, the smiles that you get, the hugs, the new people that come in, those are the people that I really enjoy working with every week.
People just want to be seen. They want to be seen and they want to be heard.
It's just a special thing to do. I mean, you feel you get as much out of it as they get out. I mean, you really do. It's just, I look so forward to come here to volunteer, and it's just a great experience.
The people that I know that volunteer here at the food bank and other places where I volunteer are happier people. I mean, it feels good to give and to make a difference.
The best part about volunteering at the food bank is just seeing everybody come together for a singular mission and how we can put our donations into action.
I know what I'm doing today has an impact on our communities and our families tonight.
I think it's really cool to come here with a group that we work together every day with, and we're typically focusing on our day-to-day work, and we get to step away and focus on a really important priority to give back to our community together.
The food bank makes it really easy to volunteer, and they're so welcoming, so we love being in partnership with them.
If someone were to ask me, gee, I want to volunteer, where should I volunteer? I automatically would say at the food bank.
At the end of a volunteer shift, you just kind of feel a little bit of a glow. You know that you've done something, to help people directly and to help the community in general.
And I think you may be sowing some seeds. You may be paying it forward for yourself, somebody in your family, a friend. You never know. Like I said, it could be any one of us at any time. So what you put out there is what comes back to you.
Volunteering here just makes me feel good, and it's something that I look forward to on Monday mornings. That's what I do. I volunteer at the food bank.
Thank you. Have a great day. Your food bank loves you.